Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And yes, y'all, I know I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but some news out yesterday brought me back in to do this video because I cannot believe it. Now, I'm sure by now all of you have heard that Tim Norman of Sweetie Pies, Miss Robbie's son, the one that was in jail, has been arrested and charged with the murder of Miss Robbie's grandson, Andre. Now, let me just backtrack a little bit, y'all. You remember when Sweetie Pies was on and Andre was shot and killed? From what I remember, Andre was in a home and he got a call. And he went outside, and when he went outside, someone shot and killed him. Now, we saw the aftermath of it. We saw how tore up Miss Robbie's family was over the death of Andre, because Andre was Miss Robbie's deceased son. It was his son. So that was Tim's brother's son, okay? So they were broken up. Miss Robbie had, taken him in and was trying to get him on the right path. We watched this young man graduate from high school, and we all were hurt for Miss Robbie's family that Andre, the streets had claimed him. We were led to believe that, even though she was trying to get him back on the right track, something that he got into out in the streets ended up getting him murdered. Now, fast forward to yesterday, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I happened upon a post that said that Tim had been arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to commit the murder. So I'm like, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Here these folks go again, accusing another black man, blah, blah, blah. But then when I went on to read the story, and the story listed corroborating evidence, like this is what the story said. Tim conspired with this dancer or stripper or something, female dancer. He was in LA, and I believe she was in Mississippi. So they bought some burner phones, and they were communicating via those burner phones. There was a call from her phone to Tim's phone asking him, where Andre was. Tim gave her the information. That same day, a call was made to Andre. Andre comes out the house. Andre is shot and killed. Now, let me back up a little bit more. Unbeknownst to us, Tim had taken out almost $500,000 life insurance policy on Andre. The policy was actually for $450,000. Now, y'all, since this story broke yesterday, I went back, and if I remember to do it, I'll put the link in my description box. I went back and watched the scene where Miss Robbie and Tim go to the street where Andre was killed. And I just watched Tim's demeanor in that scene. And let me just say this, y'all. He played the role, just perfect. He needs an Academy Award, because if this is true and he did that, he set this up, and he stood there with his mother on the spot that Andre was murdered, and knowing that he had something to do with it. Watch the scene, y'all. Y'all are going to be tripping, because like I said, Andre was no stranger. That was his blood. If this is all true, and they're providing, and by they, I mean the authorities are providing information that led them to believing that it was Tim, that Tim and this woman was involved. They have proof. Burner phones, conversations. They you know how they can tell where the phones were, what towers they pinged off, what occurred in, you know, right before Andre was murdered, and then what occurred right after he was murdered. So the authorities are saying that the woman's burner phone was in the vicinity of the area where Andre was killed. And immediately after Andre was murdered, within a moment, there was a call made from that woman's phone to Tim's phone. And then at that point, after they spoke, her phone was tracked going back to Mississippi from St. Louis, and Tim's phone was tracked leaving St. Louis going back to LA. So the authorities have already done the background work to tie this story together. Now, y'all, I may have some of the details a little, mixed up because, again, this all broke yesterday, but I want to go to the human aspect of this. So think about what has happened if this is true. Again, Andre was no stranger to them. This wasn't a neighbor's kid. This wasn't a cousin. This was Tim's brother's child. This was Miss Robbie's son that was murdered. It was his son. That's how Andre is Miss Robbie's grandson. Andre was Miss Robbie's murdered son's child. And if the reports are true, Tim conspired to murder his own nephew, his own brother's child. What type of sick fucking individual do you have to be to even think of something like that? Now, y'all, since this has happened, I went back and, I watched a couple different scenes that Andre and Tim and little Charles was in. Do you guys remember when Andre, Charles, and Tim got into a little tiff and Tim punched Andre in the face? And Andre and Charles went to Miss Robbie and explained to her that they had been, that they had had words and that Tim had literally attacked Andre. And Miss Robbie was upset and told Andre and Charles that she was going to have a word with Tim because she didn't appreciate a grown man. No matter how big Andre was, he still was a child, under 18. She didn't appreciate Tim putting his hands on Andre. And Miss Robbie, they do show you on that episode, Miss Robbie pulling Tim into her office or into the office and speaking to him about why would you put your hands on, this young man. They look up to you. There's a different way to do it. If you want them to respect you, blah, blah, blah. You know how someone advises you if you're trying to get a teenager on your side, this is not the way to do it. If you want to win them over, do it this way. Basically, that's what Miss Robbie was telling him. Y'all, when I first heard this, the very first thought that went through my head is, my God, how much more can Miss Robbie take? Think about it. She lost her husband to violence. She lost her son to violence. Tim was in jail for over 10 years. Then she loses Andre, her grandson. And then 4 years later, because Andre was murdered in 2016, 4 years later, the authorities went to her and said, we believe that Tim had something to do with the death of your grandson. Y'all, I don't know how she is holding up under this. Because, y'all, Miss Robbie strikes me as a very strong and resilient woman. But there's only so much a person can take. Miss Robbie also strikes me as that auntie in the family that she wants everybody to do well. Miss Robbie came up with this business. I'm going to open a restaurant and I'm not going to give my family members anything. But if they're willing to come work, in the restaurants, we can all be great together. That's how Miss Robbie strikes me. You know how you have those family members, they're getting, they got a business and they, making it big, and basically they leave everyone else behind. Miss Robbie was not like that. Miss Robbie, went to her family and said, we can all pitch in. This is our business. This is our family business. It's our legacy. And she brought in sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, grandkids, anybody who was willing to get in there and get down and, cook and serve and ring up meals. Anybody that was willing to work, as long as you were working, you were brought onto her team. And then Tim, her son, he was a felon. When he got out of jail, y'all, he walked into a ready-made business and it was successful. Okay, now a lot of people, when I made a video about this before, they had mentioned something like if Tim wouldn't have been involved, the Oprah Winfrey Network would not have come a calling. I beg to differ. Because when Tim was in jail, Miss Robbie was building the name. Now, I'm not going to say that when Tim got out of jail, he didn't come home and start, coming up with ideas, and him and Miss Robbie put their heads together and they made those dreams and those ideas come to fruition. I'm not going to say that. But Tim would not have had a business to put ideas into if Miss Robbie hadn't been there doing all the building of the business while he was in jail. For him to get out, because y'all also know that Miss Robbie had to sue Tim because Tim was opening up Sweetie Pie's restaurants without her permission. And she didn't appreciate it because she felt like she was the brand and, he needed her permission to do it. So, y'all, I look at it this way. To me, it almost seems like Tim, I'm not going to say he has been nothing but trouble for Miss Robbie since he got out of jail, but he's put her through some things that a grateful son should not have done. Once you realize that your mother wasn't on board with you opening up those businesses without her permission, you're her son. Go sit down and talk to her. I'm pretty sure that before Miss Robbie got to the point of where she was saying, well, I'm going to sue him, that she tried to talk to Tim. That's her baby. She tried to talk to him and he wasn't listening. So it left her no recourse but to sue him. And now he's involved possibly in the murder of her grandchild, her dead son's child. Y'all, if this is true, Tim ain't shit. There is no way in the world, nothing in my brain that could make me come up with the idea to murder one of my nephews for money. Like, what in Tim pushed him to say, well, okay, I know Andre gonna die, but, hey, what it is, and then go through with it, y'all. Go through with it. Did he resent Andre because Miss Robbie took him in and her focus was on him and trying to, do right by her son, her deceased son's child in memory of her deceased son? Was Tim jealous of Andre? What was the problem? Why, if this is true, would he do something like this, y'all? Why? All throughout today, whenever my mind went to this story, I kept asking myself, why? What would make him do something like this? If this is true, what happened? And then, y'all, once he realized that the deed was done and Andre was dead, how did he live with himself after an 18-year-old boy's life was taken brutally? You know, how do you go on after that? Hell, the report said that within a week he was trying to cash in on the insurance, and the only reason why he wasn't able to get the money is because he didn't provide the proper documents that the insurance company requested, which would allow them to make the payout. And they said until this day, he still hasn't provided those documents. So 4 years later, after Andre's murder, what was it worth if you never got the money? Y'all, you know, what this story does for me, it tells me that just because someone is family doesn't mean that they have your best interests at heart. Because the thought that Tim was on a burner phone with someone planning out the murder of his own blood, it turns my stomach, y'all. It like, you're sitting here like, and I keep going back to that question, why? You know, what in his brain allowed him to think, hey, this is okay, I'm gonna get paid, mama and them will get over it, hell, several other people in our family was killed, it'll be just another man in our family killed. I mean, what in his brain allowed him to plan it, execute it, and then fake after Andre was gone? Because if I remember to put this clip, link to this clip in my description box, and y'all watch him go to the scene of that crime where Andre lay after being shot, dying, and he took his mother there and acted out that scene, y'all. Like I said, he ain't shit. Y'all, this is the end of the video because I cannot even come up with words anymore. Words about this story. I still cannot even believe that this is a possibility. So with that, y'all, I want to know what y'all think. Put your comments down in the comment section. Watch the clip of that scene and let me know what y'all think. And something else, say some prayers for Miss Robbie and her family, because I know that Miss Robbie has to be sitting somewhere damn near comatose in pain from all of this and being told what Tim could have possibly concocted, which led to the death of her grandchild. Y'all, this is crazy. Y'all have a good evening. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my video. Take care now. Bye-bye.